V-Day celebrations tomorrow will be like no other. For the first time in history, we'll all have to celebrate at home.
Yes, 75 years since the Second World War ended in Europe. Let's listen to Winston Churchill announcing the momentous news.
Hostilities will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight, Tuesday, the 8th of May. We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing. Today is Victory in Europe Day.
Winston Churchill's grandson, Sir Nicholas Soames, joins us live from Sussex, and Lord Richard Dannatt, former head of the British Army, joins us from Norwich. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If I could start with you, please, Sir Nicholas Soames. It feels like right now that more than ever, the celebration of VE Day and a community and a country coming together is hugely important. Oh, I think we may have lost the line to Sir Nicholas in Sussex. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Sir Nicholas? OK, well, let me put that question to Lord Richard Dannatt. He's in Norwich. Hopefully the line to Norwich is a bit clearer. Can you hear us, Lord Dannatt?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Thank you very much.
I think you're absolutely right. Tomorrow should be a day that we commemorate those who lost their lives in the Second World War and celebrate the peace and the freedom that they won. But of course, we're doing it in such extraordinary circumstances with more battles going on, different front lines in our care homes, in our hospitals and in our communities. So it is a really special day tomorrow for everyone to pull together, come together, remember what happened 75 years ago, but actually remember all those who are battling for our health and safety today.
Lord Dannatt, you have obviously led various military campaigns through your career, and we are constantly having comparisons between what our NHS and what we're all facing at the moment with this extraordinary enemy, which is this virus, and being in a war zone. Do you feel there are similarities between the two things?
Well, there are similarities because everyone has got to pull together. Everyone's got to work to a common plan. And wars are only one. The Second World War was only one because there was a campaign plan in the end in Europe from D-Day right through Arnhem to the Battle of the Bulge to the Rhine crossing. And eventually Germany was defeated. That's because there was a plan and there was leadership. And that's what we need in this country now. We need our government to lead very firmly, the Prime Minister to be very much in charge and have a plan to get us through from where we are to where we need to be. We won't go back to how things were. I think life will have transformed, life will have changed, but we can look forward to a better life, just as on the 8th of May 1945, people looked forward to a better life when the Second World War was over. And the Tommies, I've got one here, when the Tommies were able to come home.
Yes, we've got one in the studio as well, which I'm just modelling. Can you explain a little bit about what these Tommies... They are beautiful sort of... depictions of a soldier, aren't they? A Tommy coming back from war. What are they and how can people get them?
Well, these Tommies are made by Royal British Legion Industries, and that's a charity that employs ex-servicemen to make many things. A lot of the road signs up and down our motorways, for example, they make, but they also produce commemorative items like the Tommy that you've got in the studio and I've got here. And their hope is that we will put a Tommy in our window tomorrow on VE Day and keep the Tommy in the window for quite some time. And if you want to buy one, go online to RBLI, Royal British Legion Industries, and you can buy one. I think they cost £32, but they've sold over 25,000 of them already. And the really critical thing is all the money that's raised goes to help the veterans that they support at their village in Aylesford in Kent. Over 300 veterans and their families live there. And all the money that was raised from selling the Tommies goes to help those veterans. It's a really good cause. So I hope people will, if they've got a Tommy, put it in their window tomorrow. Otherwise, buy a Tommy, put it in the window, and let's keep it there until we can all get together at some point in the future and then really celebrate VE Day.
Yeah, there's something very moving, isn't there, about that figure and the poise and the way that he's holding his head. We've re-established the link with Sir Nicholas Soames, so good to see you this morning, sir. We have just we've just broadcast the moment when your grandfather announced a victory in Europe. But tomorrow will be a very different sort of celebration, commemoration, won't it? Because we are still, or right now, fighting a different kind of war. What are you going to be doing tomorrow?
Well, I will remember the same as I thought Lord Dannatt put it so well, these great celebrations that took place on VE Day and actually will take place all over the country tomorrow, albeit not in a public way, were tinged with sadness because there were tens of thousands of millions who didn't come home to their respective countries. And I think it's important to remember that VE Day was a great, great triumph and a wonderful celebration and a great unleashing of excitement and passion following years of war and the defeat of the Nazis. But it was also a moment to remember. And I think it's important that we keep that at the front of our minds.
Do you see echoes of a wartime spirit right now? I don't know if you were able to watch our interview with 99-year-old Marjorie Lamb, who served in the Wrens. She was saying that although tomorrow she might normally have gone to church potentially to mark VE Day, she will be having a moment of reflection in the garden. But I wonder whether that sense of national unity and sort of fighting spirit is being invoked right now.
Well, I think it's a very different time. We haven't gone through 5.5 years of really serious, hard times. But it is true that what this COVID-19 has produced, is a feeling of unity and of pulling together, which I think is a very British characteristic when faced with tough times. I mean, we always talk rather freely of the Blitz spirit, but this is something that is happening in the whole country. And the whole country is aware that we have to pull together to get this thing done. So to that extent, I think it is a comparable moment in that we are able to celebrate, perhaps, the fact that this country has come together to deal with this terrible problem.
One of the things that Marjorie alluded to when we were asking her about her memories of VE Day and what she went through was the Navy around her and also the leadership that they had at the time and how crucial that was. It was your grandfather, of course, who is credited with that leadership at the time, the British country. I wonder, for Britain, I wonder what you make of the leadership that we have at the moment with Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. Clearly, he's been very ill and experienced COVID and been right on the front line. But are you seeing the sort of leadership you feel the country needs to be able to come together and get through the coronavirus?
I think the Prime Minister and his government, and particularly Matt Hancock and others at the forefront of this battle, have done very well. And I think it's interesting that the public do look to their leadership at times of great difficulty. There's no doubt about that. And I think the fact that Boris has himself been very nearly over the edge, he obviously had a terrible experience, will have given him an added empathy in the way that he deals with this. But I think so far, of course, there are things that have gone better. Of course, there will be lessons to be learned. There always are. But I think we need to look forward under a clear steer on Sunday from the Prime Minister to finally getting this thing under control and getting Britain and all our people back to work so we can restore some of the... I think a lot of people have had a very, very hard time of this. I think you think of families cooped up in flats, in tower blocks. You think of single mums trying to look after children under great financial pressure. I mean, we need to get back as quickly as we can. And I think the government are providing good leadership, sound leadership, but it's important to remember that this is not a war. We haven't just been through 5 years of war. And I think one needs to be a bit careful about making it comparable.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. It's Nicholas Soames. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And I understand you're hosting you've had this special programme for Classic FM.
I did, and I was rather leery about doing it, and actually I greatly enjoyed it. I think I'm at 72, I'm going to try and open up a new profession.
As a DJ, I love it.
It's going to be broadcast tomorrow, 8 o'clock, playing music associated with VE Day and World War II, famous quotes and speeches that your grandfather made during the conflict. So, well, we look forward to listening to that. Sounds
Thank you, Susanna.
Entirely appropriate. It's Nicholas Soames. Thanks very much indeed. And Lord Richard Dannatt, thank you very much as well. And just remind people about the Tommies and where they can get one from.
Well, the Tommies are made by Royal British Legion Industries. So go online, Royal British Legion Industries, and that'll tell you how you can buy a Tommy. And remember that the money that's raised goes to help the wonderful veterans who make the Tommies, but also live in their protected village at Aylesford in Kent. They do a lot of really good work. So get out there and buy a Tommy. It'll be really appreciated. And what you do will be really helping veterans who have fought on the front line for us in many campaigns over the years, from the Second World War to the present time.
A really fitting tribute, isn't it? There'll be one in our house, that's for sure. Thank you very much both for joining us this morning.